have on the line with me tonight. We got Amanda and Beverly and Grace and Molly. If somebody could, excuse me, type in the questions box. Hey, Beverly, thanks for letting me know. Sorry, I just inhaled down the wrong pipe for a second there. All right. Anybody on the webinar with their dandelion detox tea like I am tonight? Killing two birds with one stone, earning double points at the moment. And Grace's, Beverly said, not yet. Awesome. Cool, you guys. Well, here we are. We're going to kick off the end of week 3 and start week 4. So you guys are at the home stretch at this point. Can you see the finish line? The light at the end of the tunnel? Are you so excited? Does anybody have their post-cleanse meal already planned out for next Friday? What it is that you're going to have first? Beverly said, I'm going to keep going. Yeah, Beverly, that's awesome. When I work one-on-one with clients, we usually do something similar to this for at least 90 days to really give the system a nice deep dive cleanse. But 30 days is always a good place to start. So awesome, Beverly. All right, you guys, well, let's go ahead and jump in and be mindful of everybody's time. Looks like there might be another person or two that's going to join us. I know some people couldn't make it tonight because they had previous obligations, but that's okay. The recording will be available for you guys who are on here live and anybody else that's missing it. If you guys are talking to any of the other Cleanse Challenge people, you know that. And we also have a guest that's going to be joining us tonight. So Molly Hamill is going to be joining us. She's going to jump in here in a little bit. Actually, Molly, I'll go ahead and unmute you now if you want to say hi to everybody.
Hi.
Hey. So Molly's going to be our guest for this evening because we're going to talk a little bit about the mind-body connection tonight to kind of wrap things up and wind down for the Cleanse Challenge. So let's go ahead and dive in. And as usual, I just want to do a quick recap for you. So like I said, there's one more week to go. Yeah. You guys will log your points all the way through the end of next Thursday, the 21st. To really finish everything out, and then you'll be turning your points trackers into me so that I can put everybody in a raffle. Remember, we have some end of Cleanse Challenge prizes, so everybody who earned, I think it was 325 points or more, will be entered into a raffle to do either 3 free health coaching sessions with me, which I do virtually, so it doesn't matter where you live, or 3 free personal training sessions with me, and I do those either in person or virtually too, so that's kind of cool. Doesn't matter where you live for that either. So make sure that you're tracking those points, writing it down. Maybe you need to go back and backtrack and write some points in. I think it's also interesting. I've been talking to some people with their Ask the Expert session. So if you guys haven't scheduled that yet with me, like Amanda who's on, I don't think we've had that yet. Beverly, we haven't had yours yet either. Grace, like you guys can still all schedule your Ask the Expert session so I can help you move forward post-cleanse or answer any questions that you guys have had. Like feel free to still schedule that. But in talking to some of the people, I think it's also interesting, you know, when I get on that session with you guys, I like to talk about what are some of the victories or wins. And not only if you guys are, you know, looking at your points all the way across to see your totals for each day and each week, I think it's also interesting, like as you guys go through this, so we're kind of at the tail end, to notice your point totals all the way down. So like I'm looking at mine right now and I've been on point with gluten, like 100%. I've gotten a point every day for being gluten-free. And then probably like my second best column, I would say, is soy and then sugar. And it's interesting to see that I've done really good with my dandelion greens. So you can kind of look, you know, downwards at each column to see like how you've done in each category, which is kind of cool too. And I'm thinking maybe next time around we'll have to do some prizes or something for how you do in each column as well. Also, just to recap for you guys, so last week we talked about critical sleep and that critical sleep time being 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. So that was one of the action items. Anybody on the line tonight been trying that and noticed any differences in just shifting your sleep cycle? Try to say that 10 times fast. Maybe you guys have tried to shift just a little bit every night and get closer to 10. Like that can also make a big difference. I was talking to one of my one-on-one clients today, and she was saying how she remembers me talking about in the beginning of our sessions. I mentioned this to you guys last week too, about how one of my clients before really pointed out that he noticed a huge difference if he was in bed at 10 p.m. feeling super rested the next day versus 10:15. And one of my clients today was like, I remember you telling me that. And she's like, now I know what you're talking about. I totally know what that's like. So if you guys aren't at 10 p.m. yet, then don't worry. Just keep working on it. It will make a huge difference. We also talked about reducing toxin exposure last week. And if you guys haven't downloaded it yet, you can go to the place where the webinar recordings are posted for you, and you can download that toxins checklist to start to take a look at your environment, because that's going to be definitely one of the key takeaways for you guys to maintain your results. Essentially, is to start reducing your toxin exposure overall, and then you have less work to do when you do like a 30-day cleanse like this, for example. And then also testing out some of the cleanse enhancements that we talked about last week, or integrating this into your regular routine. This is actually something I'm thinking about maybe adding to the next cleanse challenge. Maybe instead of just doing the liver flushing, you guys will have the opportunity to choose from some of the different cleanse enhancements overall, like the liver flushing, massage, yoga, acupuncture, and earn bonus points for doing that kind of stuff. So that's the recap for this week. Like I promised, let's dive in and start talking about the mind and body connection. So this is super important because healing really only happens when we're in a relaxed state, and cleansing is part of that healing process. So what I'm talking about here is that when we're constantly stressed out, or we're on the go, like moving through life really fast, we tend to be in this fight or flight response all the time. And when we're in that fight or flight response, our body kind of shuts down some of its typical functions in order to reserve energy for that fight or flight response. So that takes away from the healing process. In order to be healing, or to have energy for our body to actually go through the cleansing process, we need to be in a relaxed state, like kind of throughout the day, or a couple times throughout the day. I know it's not maybe realistic to be completely not stressed all the time, but we need to be giving our body some breaks in the stress that we're dealing with. And it could be mental, emotional stress. It could be environmental stress. It could be, different types of toxins that are creating stress. So there's all different things that we've been working on through the Cleanse Challenge to reduce the impact of all these different stressors. And the mental, emotional piece is what we're going to focus on tonight. So research has also shown that strong emotions can actually change the chemistry of the body. And this is why we're bringing our expert Molly in to talk a little bit about this tonight too, that emotions like fear and stress can actually slow down metabolism. They can increase depression and influence our overall well-being, which can happen for the long haul also. So I want to do a little test with you guys right now and do something that's called a body scan. So wherever you are, unless you're driving, if you guys are sitting somewhere, I just want you to get comfortable in your seat where you are right now. Go ahead and close your eyes, and I want you just to breathe and kind of tune into my voice. And we're going to go through a body scan. So as you guys have your eyes closed, I want you to kind of focus your attention at the top of your head. And I want you to inhale fresh breath and oxygen, like you're inhaling and kind of pumping up the top of your head like a balloon. Taking a nice deep breath, maybe to the count of 5 or 7 or even 10, and hold there at the top for just a moment, and then exhale. And as you exhale, I want you to exhale again really long to maybe a count of 5 or 7. And as you exhale, I want you to shift your focus to the top of your head, maybe down to the center of your face. Think about breathing in fresh air and oxygen to your face, expanding, holding, exhaling. And as you exhale, I want you to go ahead and exhale and focus your attention down to your throat. Inhale that fresh breath, oxygen, and energy to your throat. Hold there for a moment, And then a nice deep exhale, pulling your belly button into your spine. Shift your focus to your shoulders, maybe across the top of your chest. Nice big inhale. Exhale again as you shift your focus now down to maybe the midline of your body, so across your biceps and your arms, the center of your chest and your abdomen. Breathe in fresh perspective, fresh breath into those areas of the body. And exhale, shift your focus now a little bit lower, maybe down to the pelvic area, the lower portion of your stomach, your hands. Breathe in that fresh oxygen, nice deep big inhale to the count of 5 or 7. Hold at the top and then exhale. Shift your focus a little bit lower now, down to your hips. Really focus in on your hips. As you breathe in, what do they feel like? Are they tight, a little bit tense? Maybe feel constricted. Breathe that breath in to loosen them up and relax. As you exhale, go ahead and shift your focus down to your thighs. Inhale here, fresh breath and oxygen, flushing out the muscles of your thighs that do so much work for us all day long when we're standing and walking. Exhale and focus your now attention on your knees. Breathe into your knees. Breathe in again that fresh oxygen, flush them out. This is where we tend to feel the pain the most sometimes. Exhale and shift your focus to your calves. Inhale, stretch out those calves with oxygen. Exhale and relax. One more, shift your focus down to your feet. I want you to inhale, and as you inhale here, I want you to think about the energy of the earth coming up through your feet, expanding, feeling strong in your grounding of your feet on the floor. And then exhale, and as you exhale, I want you to think about any energy kind of rushing out of your body at this moment in time. Release all of that out. Go ahead and continue just breathing and listening to your body here. Noticing any areas that might feel different now that we've done this body scan, what might have shifted for you physically or mentally, just by breathing a few deep breaths into those pain points of your body, into each section, acknowledging and noticing that it's there, and appreciating each part as you breathe through it. Slowly return your breath back to normal. Come back here with me now. And let's check in and see what you might have noticed. You know, our body is very wise in the signals and the signs that it gives us. It lets us know when something is right or wrong. But not always are we listening to it. Sometimes we become oblivious to it, or we ignore it, or we're just moving through too fast through life to even notice it. So post body scan, I want you to maybe note down, or either on a piece of paper or just a mental note right now, you know, what area of your body maybe felt tense, tight, pain, maybe it felt weak or heavy, like it was hard to breathe. I know sometimes when I do this exercise, sometimes my chest and my diaphragm area feel really heavy because I've been maybe holding my breath all day long. Maybe notice what emotions might have surfaced for you. Did you notice any kind of anger or fear or judgment as you scanned through different parts of your body that you maybe aren't so happy with and you wish were different? Any jealousy that might have surfaced? And as you notice these different things, I want you to also kind of notice what new attitude you could adopt that supports your best life as you're listening to your body here. So if there was anger or fear, judgment or jealousy, or some other type of emotion that popped up for you, I want you to take that after the webinar today and contemplate, what does that mean for you? What is your body or that emotion trying to tell you? And what is that new attitude that you can adopt that would support your best life and the things that you want to get? Now, this is all a part of the cleansing process, as Molly's going to talk a little bit more about here in just a second. And that when we hold on to tension or tightness or pain or heaviness, any of these emotions that are quote unquote seen as negative, that they can get stuck in our body in different kinds of ways, and they can clog up our natural cleansing process or our bodily functions, and they can actually manifest themselves into illness or sickness. So sometimes we have to let go of the old in order to make room for the new. It's kind of like the concept of if you were going out shopping to get new furniture for your living room, you would have to get rid of the old furniture in order to make room for the new furniture. And I just want to share here, Beverly was saying, I always I always feel like my body realigns when I relax. I readjusted my pelvis, opening my heart chakra. That's great noticing, Beverly. And she said, I love breath and new perspective. I really relate to that. So I hope that you guys can take some of this. And this is a great, it took us only a minute or two to do this body scan. You can do this anywhere when you're at work or at home, in the morning, at nighttime, and just check in with your body and see what it's asking for you, what it needs. If it feels tight or tense, maybe it needs some stretching. Maybe it needs a little bit of nourishment in some kind of way. And we got to start paying more attention to what our body is telling us. It's going to tell us when it needs to be cleansed. I was talking to a client just yesterday who had just gotten back from a 3-week vacation in Spain. And she was noticing that her energy was completely drained. She said that she felt like she was all the way back to where we first started. But what really had happened is that she just went out and had fun for 3 weeks, and her body was telling her that it needed a really good cleanse. So when we stop and listen, there's so much wisdom that we can get out of our gut and all the different signs that our body is telling us. So I'm going to turn it over to Molly here. Molly, if you're ready there. And I'm going to let Molly talk a little bit more about cleansing your mind also and how this can be super beneficial for us. So Molly, go ahead and take it on.
All right. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you perfect.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the best things that you can do to keep your body clean is to keep your mind clean. And our thoughts affect our emotions and our body. We have emotional reactions to thoughts. This happens in our days, right? Like something happens, we get triggered, and it's like we can become aware of what's going on inside of us and make a choice around it, or we can like go down the rabbit hole of despair and let our minds run crazy, which makes us feel crappy inside. And it's like our body is like a cesspool for all of the stuff with our mind and our emotions going on. So if we're not in practice of clearing those, then we're affecting our body. So we can be doing everything perfectly with eating and exercising, but if we're not managing this aspect of our life, then we're compromising our other efforts. So Jen, you and I have talked about this so many times. I mean, I have clients, you have clients, you have shared clients where it's like, I'm doing everything right, I'm eating perfectly, and I'm exercising just as I'm supposed to be, and I'm not losing any weight.
Yep.
And it's because they have mindset patterns that they're like beating themselves up over how they look instead of focusing on how they do want to look and attracting that into their lives. So the best tools that I use and I teach to my clients are meditation and mindfulness. So I mean, I love teaching meditation because there's so many misconceptions about it out there. Because if you see a meditation image, it's like of this perfect person on a mountainside somewhere having the most Zen experience, and that ain't reality a lot of times in meditation. It really is about noticing the thought that comes up while you're meditating, acknowledging the thought, and then releasing the thought before you get hooked on it. And so that technical process is repeated over and over and over again. And something I learned that helped really shift my meditation practice was that the more thoughts we have, the more stress we're actually releasing. So it's just a matter of not getting hooked on them and returning our attention to like our breath or to our mantra or to the song or whatever it is that the meditation's all about. And of course, this whole process has such a profound healing effect on our systems. And then if you think about it, that very process of meditation is so building our mindfulness muscle. Because outside of meditation, we use mindfulness to achieve the same result. So it's like, we're going about our day and then bam, that negative thought comes in, that self-critical thought about our body or whatever. And it's like when we come from a place of awareness, we're able to say, wow, look at that. I was just totally starting to criticize myself out of nowhere. But I'm going to choose differently now that I'm aware of that thought. So that same process that we use in meditation, we can use mindfully outside of meditation in our everyday life. And it totally gives us power because choice is power and choice is happiness. sure you guys have heard this before, but it's like 60% of our happiness or something comes from the choices that we make. So it's not just like decisions about major things in life, but it's like what our internal dialogue is like during our day. We have choice over that. Um, Yogi Bhajan, I'm a Kundalini yoga student and teacher, and so I do a lot of their meditations. And I love one of his quotes. He started Kundalini yoga and in our country. And he says that meditation is clearing the garbage from our minds. So, how appropriate, especially when you're on a cleanse, to be clearing all the toxins from your mind through the process of meditation. Because look at all that you're releasing right now physically. So, meditation is just the perfect partner to that to help you release any mental and emotional toxins. Um, do we have time to do like a 3 minute meditation,
Yeah,
Jen?
go for it.
Okay, cool. Um, so just sit comfortably wherever you are and elongate your spine so that your crown of your head is reaching towards the heavens. And begin to close your eyes. And as you do, turn your focus inward so that your inner focus is on your third eye, which is the space slightly above and in between your eyebrows. And as you focus your attention there, it begins awakening your center of intuition. And it's in that center of intuition that we have an all knowingness, where our true wisdom lies, um, where we know deep down inside that everything will be okay. And place your hands over your heart. And as you do that, as you put your hands there in that spot of your body, you're simply signifying to your body that it's perfectly safe to open your heart and to relax your mind. Allow the breath to come long and deep into your body through your nose, letting the belly relax and fill with air on each inhale. Allowing the air to release out through the nose as the navel point glides back towards the spine on the exhale. Allowing the breath completely out of the body. Continuing this long, deep breathing, these long, deep body filling breaths. Observing your breath, watching the inhale, noticing each exhale. And if anything else comes up for you, like a thought or a feeling, you just simply observe it and return your focus to your breath. Consciously connecting with the flow of your breath. And next time you take a long, deep inhale, suspend the breath in the body for a moment. And as you do that, pressurize every cell in your body, squeezing, 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 holding the breath, squeezing, squeezing, squeezing every part of your body. Hold. And then exhale, breathe out through the nose, relaxing the pressure in your body. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Inhaling deeply one more time, holding the breath in, pressurizing every cell in your body, squeezing your face, squeezing your arms, making your hands into a fist, tightening your stomach, squeezing your butt, your legs, your calf, your feet, squeezing, 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 and holding. And then relax the tension and release your breath. Keep your attention focused internally, allowing the breath to return to a natural state. Releasing your hands onto your lap, just letting them comfortably lay there for a moment. And take a few moments to absorb all of the energy that you just shifted around you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes, come back into your body. You can shake your hands or your feet, whatever you want to do. So that's just like a 3 minute quickie meditation. I actually call it meditation foreplay because that's what I use every time before I start a formal meditation. Because a lot of times people just like go from being a maniac to jumping into a meditation and they wonder why it doesn't work. So I always do kind of like a warm up, a little meditation foreplay to get myself in the mood for a full meditation. You can get that free on my website if that was helpful to you. But even in just a few minutes, even in 60 seconds, like you saw between what Jen did and I did, it's really easy to shift your energy. And what I love about meditation is even though the mind wants to work and work and work, it eventually will slow down. And that's when you have those moments of peace. That's when you have those moments of clarity, of insight, of that reassured feeling inside that everything's okay, you're okay. And during our days that are so busy and packed and overscheduled, we rarely have time for those little sacred moments. So I've come to do this throughout my day. I'll go into the bathroom if I need to, if I don't have privacy, or I'll do it in my office, to just check in with my energy so I don't get totally disconnected from myself throughout the day. So you can do this and think like, okay, you're clearing the garbage in your mind. Because through the process of meditation, when we catch that thought and we release it, we're putting it in the garbage as opposed to allowing it to enter our subconscious mind and doing God knows what over the next 10 years. So I am launching a meditation series next Monday. And there's going to be 4 modules. One is mellow your mind, the second's honor your body, the third's brighten your energy, and then the fourth is boost your happiness. And I'm literally giving away all of my best like tips, tricks, and education on meditation, which I've accumulated over the last 10 years from many different teachers. So if you're interested in learning more, you can jump over to my website and sign up. I would love to have you be a part of it. And otherwise, if there's any questions, let me know.
Yeah, you guys can type questions in the question box. Beverly says, love that. Yes, awesome. And like Molly is saying, we've worked together. So I'm in one of Molly's programs right now. And I'll tell you that Molly definitely has like a total different approach to meditation than I've ever experienced before. And I love that she's so real and down to earth. I was just telling somebody the other day, Molly, about the tapping morning tapping meditation that you have us doing where you're like,
Yeah.
we're tapping,
Yeah.
we're like, I am a total badass and I
Yeah.
am a spike of divine light. Like, how often have you ever
Yeah.
heard a meditation where you're talking about being a total badass? I mean, that's my kind of meditation if there ever was one.
Totally. That sounds badass. I mean, we all have it in us. That's the woman that I want to see emerge from these things. And actually, you don't even have to sign up. You can go to my website if you want. I posted a blog, I think yesterday or the day before, and the name of the meditation is literally Bitchy and About to Snap. Because, like, no matter how freaking amazing we are, like, we all have those moments where we feel like we're gonna, like, freak out and yell at our husband or our sister or partner or whatever. And so I've literally been using this meditation for 10 years, and like I am getting so many comments from people, like from moms saying they were doing it while they were tucking their kids in the bed or like feeding them dinner and like so much funny stuff. So if you want some like real like practical ones to use throughout your day, like you can go to my website and just it's on the blog. You don't have to sign up for anything even. It's just right there for you. So
Yeah,
check it out.
Beverly said that one made her laugh. So she wants to share it on her Facebook page. So maybe send her a message for that too. But this is,
Yeah, do it. It totally works.
yeah, totally huge, you guys. I mean, this is again like another piece of the puzzle on how you can take what the work that we've been doing over the last 3 weeks, and it'll be 4 weeks at the end of this, and take it to the next level is by working on the mindset piece. Like what we've been creating is mindfulness about the food that you're eating and how it's making you feel. It's like Molly was mentioning before, meditation creates mindfulness all the time. So it's that same concept of we've been creating mindfulness around, oh, am I going to eat that cookie or that piece of gluten or that dairy? And the cleanse is causing you to stop and think about it essentially. And meditation does the same thing in terms of your mindset and the actions that you take and how you view yourself and how you place worth upon yourself. So I highly recommend checking out her program that she has coming up. And thank you so much, Molly, for sharing that with us tonight. So I know we're kind of getting down to the wire on some time here, so let's go ahead and start wrapping up. This kind of leads us right back into what I want to talk about is like the gift of gratitude. So I've been talking to so many people and seeing you guys post up on the Facebook page, like people have been losing weight, their energy is improving, their sleep is great. And I want you just to take a second here and have some gratitude for the work that you've done, what you've done for yourself and how it's maybe affected even your partners and your family members. Like look back at where you were 3 weeks ago. I know a lot of you, you can scroll down on the Facebook page and you can see that the posts have changed so dramatically from when we started to now. People were feeling overwhelmed and anxious and about giving up their favorite foods and trying to sort through and sift and find new things. And now it's a totally different atmosphere on there that you guys are acknowledging your victories. People are losing weight. You're supporting each other. You're posting, favorite products that you're finding. Like you're evolving in this journey. And acknowledge yourself for that kind of work, because it's so often that we don't acknowledge ourselves enough for the great things that we do. It's just human nature to kind of always tend to notice the negative things. So notice how you are more energetic. Like maybe you're waking up easier in the morning time and you don't need 2 cups of coffee, or you only need one. I know Tina was posting that she hasn't had coffee at all. That's amazing. You're easily eating gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, and alcohol free. It's not as treacherous as it was. And you're grateful to be this healthier version of you. Like you probably have noticed that your mindset is a lot different. You're just more positive and outgoing anyways. And I want you to think of this as your new baseline and where true transformation begins to happen from this point forward. Like the journey from here continues. You guys have learned so much over the last couple of weeks, and now you have all of these new tools in your toolbox to continue moving forward, essentially. So let's talk about life post cleanse. Like what exactly does that look like? I'm getting some questions about this also. Like how do you maintain all of these great things that you're feeling and results that you've seen so far? And I like to say live in the 90-10 zone. A lot of people talk about the 80-20, and the 80-20 is also another realistic place to be. I think that the 90-10 keeps it a little bit more within your grasp of getting back on track. Excuse me. So what that means is like, 90% of the time, maybe look to be gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, and alcohol free. This gives you 10% wiggle room to indulge for a good cause. And now you can kind of sit there and ask yourself, is it worth it? Like, I feel so great right now. Is it worth having that, cookie or that bread or whatever it is that's put in front of you? And when you look at it this way, you can think, there's 21 meals in a week. If you have 3 meals on average a day times 7. So that means that there's 2.1, maybe 3-ish meals for fudge factor. So for me, what my guidelines are is like, I like to go out to dinner with my husband on a Friday, Saturday night or something like that. So that's where I allow myself to maybe indulge in something a little bit different, like have a little bit of dairy or maybe share a dessert together. I know that it's not going to make me feel super awesome, but I also enjoy the pleasure of that. So it's all about striking that balance and establishing some healthy boundaries. Also when it comes to like alcohol, my general personal rule again is like keeping it contained to the weekend and only 2 maybe days a week, like a Friday and a Saturday or Saturday and a Sunday or something like that. My general rule, like if you guys really want to see more progression in your health, limiting to like a maximum of 4 alcoholic drinks per week. And maybe the rule is that you don't drink on school nights or something like that. Making sure that you're exercising daily and remembering to just breathe. Part of what we've been talking about through the cleanse is offsetting the negative. So we can't always control the toxins that are in our environment, or maybe the food that's put in front of us when we're at work meetings and conferences. So what can we do to offset some of the damage? And that's things like exercising daily and remembering to breathe, and trying to eat according to your metabolic type. And you guys can continue to incorporate the beets and the grapefruit and the dandelion greens regularly. You don't have to do it every day like we were doing on the cleanse, but you can keep those in your repertoire now. Taking 5 minutes for yourself to meditate. I know a lot of you have been loving the castor oil packs because it's a reason for you to relax in the evening times. And this is also a great combo to do your meditation at the same time. And then ultimately, for deeper cleansing, part of this whole idea of this cleanse challenge, I talked about in the beginning, the two best times a year to do our cleanse are in the fall and in the spring. So every year, as far as I know right now, I'm going to continue to offer a cleanse challenge. The next one will be in October, and then we'll do another one in the spring. So these are always good times for you guys to jump back into the cleanse challenge, to just get yourself back on track and do like a really focused cleansing time. And every time you do it, you'll get better and better, and it'll get easier and easier. So these are some of the things to think about as we start to move into this last week and your final day on Thursday. Also, I just want to caution you guys about reintroducing foods. If you guys have been super clean with the eating, especially, you want to be careful with this because you don't want to like overload your body with too much like harsh food at once, essentially. So if you're going to reintroduce the foods, I want you to do it with caution because you're now operating at a higher level with basically a cleaner engine, and you just know a different way of being. Like one of my common things that I'll tell my clients and people I work with is that you only know what you know until you know something different. So you didn't know how good it felt to feel good until maybe you did this process, and now you have a reframe, like you have something to compare it to in comparison to how you felt before you started the cleanse challenge. So now that you're operating at this higher level, now you can make a conscious decision or educated choice on if you want that gluten, dairy, sugar, soy, or alcohol, kind of understanding that you may not feel so great about it. So if you guys have been really clean or even, halfway clean through this process, this can still affect you. So I want you just to think about, strategically introducing one item at a time. So maybe first you're going to introduce back some dairy because maybe you've been missing your cheese the most, for example. And I want you to wait about a couple of days at least until you reintroduce the next thing, because you want to look for any reactions that you might have when you reintroduce a food. So reactions can turn up as long as 8 days later. They can turn up in the form of anxiety, skin breakouts, digestion issues, like just irregular bowel movements or upset stomach kind of stuff. Like for me, if I have gluten or sugar, like wham, within 48 hours, always I have a fat zit on my face. It's like so classic textbook for me now. It never used to happen to me before until I really cleaned up my diet. And now that's like a signature sign that I get all the time. So again, it's all about making that educated and conscious decision. Does my body like this, when you're looking for those signs? And then, if that's something, you can make that choice on how that's when you want to continue living your life, kind of more in align with what we've been doing in the cleanse challenge, or going back to some of your old habits, depending on whatever is best for you and where you feel happiest and most comfortable with. And then final reminders too, that like I mentioned earlier, the cleanse challenge ends Thursday the 21st. So you want to make sure that you log your points all the way through next Thursday till the end of the day. You'll get some reminder emails to me to make sure that you send your completed points checklist to me. Make sure you take an after picture so that you can get those extra points too. You want to retest using the questionnaires. So those are located in the virtual bag, or I'll send those out in an email so you can look at your scores from when you started to afterwards and see how things are changed. Sometimes we don't always notice stuff in the moment, and when we take a moment to reflect, we do. Prizes will be announced within the next week after that, once all the checklists are received and tallied. And, I want you guys to think about how you're going to continue this journey. Like, take what you've learned and continue to apply it. I know, Beverly's on the line and she's done this. She did the cleanse that we did in the fall, and she's used some of that stuff continuously. And then, she's picking up more things and learning more now to continue. And hopefully you can step fully into that new you and not hold back on what it is that you really want. What I also hope that you guys get from this and take away is that you can be empowered in your own health. You have the control to feel as fantastic, amazing, badass, as Molly would say that you want to be. It's all within your grasp. It's about making choices every day that are just in alignment with that. And then ultimately, if you guys are feeling like you want to take this work a little bit deeper, whether you've had great success with the cleanse challenge and you're really like committed and invested and you want to get dive deeper into your health, then I want to invite you to check out my Get Your Gut in Gear group program that's coming up, which you guys got an email out about this on Monday. And then for any of you guys who are also feeling kind of stuck, like maybe you had a hard time sticking with the cleanse challenge, or even in sticking with it, you felt like you weren't getting as many results or making as much progress as you wanted to, then my Get Your Gut in Gear program would be a good way to level up. Because if you've been stuck or plateaued, then that's an indication to me that there is deeper work to do, that there's likely some kind of gut dysfunction going on, like maybe a bacteria, parasite, yeast overgrowth, leaky gut, something happening in there that's disrupting your system internally. And even though you've been doing all these great, amazing things for your body, there could be something that's kind of hidden or unknown standing in the way. So in the Get Your Gut in Gear group program, we're going to be investigating that kind of stuff specifically. You're going to use an at-home stool sample test to take a deep dive look at what's going on in your gut. And then you get to work with me on some one-on-one sessions to personalize your gut rebuilding program. And then there's going to be bi-weekly group coaching sessions, kind of similar to what we've been doing on the webinar, but a little bit more interactive. So you can work through the different pieces of the healing process. So some of it will be similar crossover to what we've done on the cleanse, like focusing on clean eating foods. And then we're also going to be incorporating foods that help to heal the gut specifically. You guys will work through some herbal supplements to tackle and eradicate any bugs that might be festering in there, and then learning how to set yourself up for health success so that your gut doesn't get damaged or impaired moving forward, and learning to take that stuff with you too. So you guys can also get 10% off with the code Gut Cleanse if you guys are interested in that. If you have questions about whether or not it's right for you, shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to answer questions or jump on a quick 15-minute call so we can talk about that stuff. But this is kind of like that would be the next phase for those of you who are ready to take it to the next level. So that's going to wrap us up for tonight. If you guys have any questions or any further comments, you guys can go ahead and put them in the question box. It looks like we had a few people drop off that maybe had to go, but anybody have any last questions for this evening? Of course, if you're listening to the recording or if you have questions that you think of after tonight, you can still post them up in the Facebook group. There's no live webinar next week. We're just going to finish out. You'll be getting reminder emails about finishing. Thanks, Beverly. She says no questions. So awesome, you guys. Well, I will let you go then to the rest of your evening and be on the lookout for some emails as we start to wrap up this next week. Have a good one, everybody.